What cleans everything? Hey, it's Steve. Welcome back to Clear Direct. We're back at Cascade Customs and Design, not for paint, but this time for carbon layups on a cowling. Let's go. You know what this is if you follow me on Instagram. These are Aerosport Products Fiberglass cowl ramps to really smooth out the air and fill this void to prevent turbulent airflow into the engine. So that's going to really help cool the engine. These are just mocked up right now. We are going to bond that with Pro Seal to maintain some flexibility so it's not super rigid. If we put flocks down, it's going to kind of make the cowling a little bit more rigid, and it needs to flex a little bit. We got the top cowling, and I'm stoked to help out. So we're building the triplet. So the idea here, this is obviously the exhaust out here. The idea here is to create some turbulent airflow and really increase the vacuum and suck the air out of the lower engine compartment. We've masked off with just packaging tape this area here, masked off everything else, and we're going to do a layup. It's going to be an Oreo. It's going to be true composite. It's going to be fiberglass, but also carbon fiber on the inside and outside, so with a core of fiberglass. What we're doing here, so we just mocked it up with a manila folder there and created a tape barrier so the resin doesn't seep down. We're going to do fiberglass and then pop it, right, and then do a really pretty carbon on the top and bottom of that. So we just marked out the location, cleaned it, cleaned the flange, and then we got to decide kind of where. Actually, we decided that we're gonna do a bead around everything that touches, and then if there's squeeze out, we can pack it in, because this side is a little bit of a lift. Since I think, let me show you. I think they were kind of designed to fit more over here. Everything fits a little nicer, but the vertical baffle was in the way, so I needed to scoot it over just a hair to about right there, which creates a little bit of a gap right there. Genius. I'll never do Pro Seal the old way again. So which version of Pro Seal are we looking at? I don't know. What do I got? There's the part number if anybody is curious. So he was saying 3M tries to sell you this thing, or that comes with it?
Like this would be on the end of it, like it would be like this.
Okay.
So you have to buy a special tool
to
click in.
Uh-huh.
So what's the point? You can just cut it off and crimp it on your drill.
Ah. Is it the same one you used on my window trim?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's
just
window sealant. It's
specific for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's like high gloss black. Like looks pretty.
Yeah. And so we're using this to, the way I understand it is, will bond to anything and also has flexibility characteristics. So we think that that's going to be a good solution. And it, you know, if we need to take these off for whatever reason, it'll be a razor blade versus if we floxed it in there, man, it's pretty much in there.
Okay. Carbon. So this bottom needs injection of goo for sure. Fold these little tags down. Lock us in a decent place.
Nice. Two layers of glass and then a layer of carbon on top and bottom. All right, what do we got in there?
So you got a little 2-part epoxy with some black dye and some fiberglass. That way when we do the carbon work on top, the fiberglass doesn't give it away that it's not solid carbon.
So one thing Stephen thought of was, so this is going to be removable, right? So I'm going to drill about 5 holes, probably secure it with 832 hardware, but I think AN3 bolts are a little excessive. So, but I was thinking it would just mount on the exterior, but he's like, well, rather than have, you know, extra layer of disturbed airflow, why don't you just mount it underneath? So we're building it on top, but the idea is most likely, and you could probably mount it on either side, but I think I'll plan on mounting it on the interior, and it'll be just that much more smooth and good looking. And then we're gonna, of course, like I said, do the carbon fiber, top and bottom, and then trim everything, drill the holes, and then clear coat it, so it should look real nice. Okay, step 1 done. Let it cure overnight, and then carbon fiber. Are you gonna pop it off and do carbon fiber with it off the cowling?
Yeah, we'll pop it and then do all the work off, because that'll hold the shape, so we shouldn't have to worry about it going back all the time.
Okay, so the only other thing I need the cowling here for is really to drill the holes and just kind of make sure we trim it accurately tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I can leave this curing tonight, and that should be
good by morning.
good by morning. And then you said you can clean it up.
Yep, then we'll take some acetone and just go around and wipe up any of our mucky mess.
Okay. I will see you tomorrow. Step 1, we removed it and no damage. That's always a plus. Victory. And what'd you say? You cleaned these up a little bit?
Just wiped them down a little bit, cleaned them up. It still has some flexibility to it. It's rigid, but not.
Yeah, and it really is just back here that needs to be the most flexible, so I wasn't super worried about it. The way we were doing it, I think that's totally fine. I'm glad we did it this way and didn't, you know, add a ton of structure.
It was bad.
Yeah, exactly. I saw you trimmed.
I trimmed it up.
Trimmed it up. Looks good.
Sanding on it, so.
Yeah, that's about the right height as it is, so I wouldn't take it down any more than that. And if I needed a few more millimeters, I just mount it to the outside versus the inside, right?
Right, and we can also go long with the carbon.
Oh, you're saying you can extend it with the carbon? Sure, because that's just the core. That's just the.
This is just going to give us our shape.
When I'm drilling through a nice, beautiful paint job, I did some drilling on the empennage for the data plate. But for this, just put maybe masking tape down and then drill through.
Give yourself some green tape. You can mark all yourself on top of the green.
Light pressure with a sharp drill bit, probably. Okay.
Sure, you drill from the paint side.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's way more prone.
Sure. So these are just tape marks, which will be covered up by the layer of carbon, so you're not super worried about that. You didn't do any. Did you do any sanding?
Yeah, I scuffed it really quick with some 80 grit to smooth it out.
Okay. How did it pop out? Did it take any sort of force, or just popped off easily?
It came pretty easy. It wasn't stuck very much. No resin really leaked in the tape.
Good.
Sometimes that happens where resin leaks in tape.
Yeah.
It does like a part lock that way, but it came off really.
All good. Okay. It was the excellent tape cutter you had.
Yeah.
That was about all I did yesterday was cut tape. All right. What do we need to know? What type of resin is that?
It's like Jeffco 1307.
While he was mixing that up, I'm going to show this. This is so cool. Love stuff like this. So, if you remember, we turned up and down.
Yes, there is
a big fan with this guy right here. All this is. He said the company wanted like a lot of money to. He's like, you know what? I think I can essentially put a dowel. What? Did you glass that in?
No.
There's something that's.
Yeah, there's fiber.
Resin
Yeah,
it?
there's like a dowel with like, I think it's a bunch of flocks.
Yeah.
It's just that,
and then
that
these look like, what are they, like the toy?
Yeah, these hobbies for RC car gear.
Yeah. Dude, I love just simple, cheap, off the shelf solutions.
Blast-proof switch.
Okay, so you're doing the surface first. That makes sense.
Yep. Wet it out.
Wet it out.
Make it sticky. And then drape the carbon over it.
Off camera, we were talking about the direction of the fiber and structure, and how what, 0-90 doesn't really stretch, but 45 stretches. That was in the fiberglass. Is it same properties?
Same exact thing for carbon.
We're not vacuum bagging it? What the heck? Jeez.
Loves the internet.
Settle down. This is an aluminum fab channel, so a few hours into the cure, you'll probably check on it, see if anything's
Weird.
sloping, and before it fully cures, and just kind of coax it back in. Or...
Yeah. Just kind of let it hang out and give it like half hour, 45. And it's kind of green, but
Like the color green?
right?
Really?
No.
Oh.
They just call it green when it's kind of like I think I would assume the term came from like wood.
Oh.
You know, wet wood, they call it green.
No.
I think it's still kind of fresh. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
What I noticed working with some, I think, similar resin when I was doing some balancing with my ailerons is I was waiting before I poured it in. I wanted it a little bit thicker, so I waited, and then I waited a little bit longer, and then all of a sudden it just turned like that.
Yes.
Like it's amazing. Like it is.
Once it starts to get hot and like exotherm, it kicks fast.
Yeah.
That so when we did rapid repairs, we would take a cup and make paste, and you'd make your paste and you'd smear a layer on the outside grain of the cup. And then when this starts smoking and going, grab that side stuff because you know it wasn't kicked yet, but it was on the way, and then we'd use that really fast, and then our stuff we could expedite it really, really fast.
Oh wow.
That seemed to always work for the turbo repairs because everything in aviation is a crisis at the last minute.
Now I need it yesterday.
Yeah. This isn't gonna work.
Oshkosh is in a week.
Right.
Looks like one of those visors with like spiky hair.
I got my guy fear.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna let this sit for a couple hours, and then the top layer, and it looks like this. Fire warning. Apparently resin gets hot enough to melt plastic. Jeez, nice work. Wow.
I'm in here all the time.
Nice. Okay, we got the part back at the hangar. We've got hardware sourced. I've went with 832. Hopefully that'll work out fine. And the plan is going to be to mount this on the interior of the bottom of the cowling. So I want to protect this. So I'm going to put just some friction tape right there around the outside, and we'll get this mounted. For the cowling ramp, the only thing you really got to pay attention to, from my estimation, is that there's going to be a vertical baffle right here, and so you got to position it such that there's enough room for it. So I ended up scooting this over outboard on both sides just a hair to make sure that I got room for the vertical baffle that isn't installed yet. So that's something I still got to do. But other than that, that was a breeze. All right, what I'm gonna do to make this more simple is take the whole cowling off and install it. But rather than put it back on to get the money shot, let's go ahead and just take a look how it looks. Oh yeah. So my only concern is that it's not long enough, but what we can do is just lay up more carbon to make it longer if it's not cooling enough. But what do you think? How's that look? All right. Kind of hard to see it, which is a good thing. Also, you know, of course, we're gonna have exhaust pipes sticking out inside of there, so, but that should give you an idea. All right, we're gonna take off the cowling to get this mounted, but I'm gonna sign off here. This was the first experience working with carbon fiber, so thanks to Steve for helping me out and teaching me. Until next time, clear to rep.